Have you ever wanted to watch your technician do his work and maybe you're concerned that they may be uncomfortable with that? They don't want you necessarily hovering over them. In this video, I want to talk about that particular subject, what I think is and is not appropriate, and what you as the homeowner should maybe keep in mind to, number one, protect yourself, but number two, have a good relationship with that company. Recently, I had a friend that dealt with a situation like this. He was calling me for advice on his situation, what's wrong with the system. He had had a couple opinions on the system, a couple very different opinions from different companies. And I asked him some questions and was a little concerned with his answers. In fact, he's a really good friend of mine. I gave him a hard time about it. His particular situation was he had a company give him some advice, and based on what they were telling him that was wrong with the system, I told him that sounded odd based on the tests and the things they were doing. Maybe that technician is still learning. Might be good to get a second opinion. He got the second opinion. Second company is out. They're now looking at the system. And I asked him, did they do X, Y, and Z while they were there to make sure certain things are tested properly? And his answer was, I have no idea. I stepped away. I took a phone call. Now, the big thing here is that's fine, especially if you really trust your technician. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem here is we're talking about big numbers. We're talking about some of the things they were saying is wrong. They're wanting thousands of dollars to take care of that issue. And in some of these repairs, we've talked about in other videos of ours, even if things are misdiagnosed, it could appear that they did diagnose it for a short amount of time. Meaning, sometimes companies will say, well, your TXV is bad, for example. And I'll tell you that TXVs are misdiagnosed all the time. The problem becomes if, let's just say, that system is actually, in contrast, just simply low on refrigerant, a lot of technicians will misdiagnose that TXV. They'll quote the customer thousands of dollars to replace that valve. Now they've got the new valve in place. Part of that quote is to now charge the system up, get the refrigerant levels up where they're supposed to be, and then they leave. The system is now charged properly, but the initial issue was not a bad valve. It was actually a leak in the refrigerant lines. And now you've got the system now fully charged. It now appears that they diagnosed it properly. They've now got the system running properly, only to find out that because it was low on refrigerant, there's actually a leak. And a few months later, several months later, however long it takes, however small that leak is, eventually that system fails again because of an initial misdiagnosis. So getting back to our point here, when I asked him with the second technician there, I said, did he do this? Did he do that? Did he pull a nitrogen tank off of his truck? Did he pull out a refrigerant sniffer? Did he do certain things to the valve to make sure the valve is working properly? Did he change the modes? And I just asked a bunch of different questions like that. And he said, well, I just have no idea. And I told him that was a very expensive mistake. You stepping away and taking that phone call and not watching that technician and making sure that he did certain things. You've now got two separate opinions. You don't know who's correct. You're essentially going to probably have to just pick the company that you think is more honest. And who knows? Some people are good at being disingenuous, being good salesmen. And now because you stepped away, you could now be on the hook for thousands of dollars to invest into something that may or may not actually be the real issue here. So let's get back to the matter at hand. Is it okay for you to watch your technician? Some guys in the business might call it hovering over them. Some of them will say the customer is a helicopter customer because they're constantly hovering over them. Some technicians even have shirts. They'll have these funny shirts made where it'll say their pricing goes up if the customer is watching them. And so some technicians just simply don't like it. They don't like to be supervised. They don't like for the customer to stand there the entire time. I have actually had customers over the years when I got there and they were watching me and so on, and I'm just doing my work, that they would even say to me, is this okay that I'm standing here? And I would always say, yeah, it's fine. I don't care. And I'll get into that in just a moment. Those customers then would say to me, well, the last guy, he didn't like it when I would watch him. He didn't like for me to hover. Here's the thing. This has always been my position as a professional. Number one, if you don't like for someone to watch you, the answer becomes why? What are you up to? My thing is there should be some transparency there. Are some customers more difficult than others? Sure. Are there more difficult personalities than others? Sure. But if you don't want the customer to see what you're doing, what are you up to? What are you hiding, right? So I think that there's a level of transparency. The other thing for me as a professional, especially as a business owner that was trying to grow a business for a long time, it gave me an opportunity to show that customer things that they are not used to seeing. Me being that transparent person, me being someone that could say to the customer, this is all I'm doing, and yeah, here's my price, and maybe you may not agree that the price should be what it is, but I'm going to be more transparent with you and give you the answers that you've never gotten before. Like those answers or not, I'm going to give them to you because I have nothing to hide. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to just use a shop vac to clear your drain, and you get to watch me the entire time. But the flip side of that is, as someone that was trying to grow a business and had nothing to hide, I was able to get to know customers a whole lot better. I got to develop connections over the years and have customers that were not going to call anyone else because of that connection. Develop something that most technicians, and I'm going to say most technicians in our trade, don't have, and that is trust. They don't have the trust of the customer. So if you're the homeowner and you're wondering, is it appropriate for me to hover over that technician? I think the answer is, I wanted to take a quick break and tell you about something I'm doing outside of educating folks on our YouTube channel. If you're a service professional of any type, you don't have to be an HVAC, I want to invite you to check out our growth groups at newhvacguide.com. They are full of other pros like you that are wanting to grow. You can share strategies, overcome challenges, and unlock your full potential with the supportive community of your peers. Learn from industry experts and proven business tactics tailored specifically for service businesses.
The amount of information that I've gotten out of this has been unparalleled value. I've learned so much from the other guys in the group, what to do, sometimes what not to do. It's helped inspire me. I'm really looking forward to what the future holds with it as my company grows and I grow as a person on this call.
Check out the description or the chat for the link. See you soon. If you're the homeowner and you're wondering, is it appropriate for me to hover over that technician? I think the answer is yes. Number one, yes, it's very appropriate if you're going to spend thousands of dollars. I just had some work done at my house, had nothing to do with heating and air. I've got a good heating and air guy that fixes my air conditioner, and my wife would say, you're looking at him. But we were having some other work done at our house, and I watched the workers from time to time. Did I stand there the entire time? No, but I did peek in on them at times. Number one, out of curiosity, kind of interesting the work we were having done. But number two, it's partly to make sure that things are being done to my satisfaction, that I'm going to peek in at times and make sure that those people are doing what they're supposed to be doing. I remember having a customer tell me that they were not comfortable. They were having a roof put on their house, and they noticed that there were some of the workers that were urinating on the side of their house. I'm not going to get into all the ins and outs of trades that don't have typical bathrooms. I think that there's ways for you to either get a porta-john put there. There's ways for you to ask the customer if you could use their bathroom. There's ways for you to not pee on the side of their house, maybe just go find a tree. There's just a number of ways that you can handle that. But the thing was, that customer was just simply now uncomfortable with that company because of that. So yes, I do think it's appropriate for you to watch the company to make sure things are done to your satisfaction. You're paying all this money. In my belief, you should be able to make sure you're getting what you're paying for and make sure everything is up to standards. But number two, I simply think that maybe you should continue to look for a company until you find someone that is okay with that. Ask them point blank, are you okay with me watching you? Because it's important to me that I have someone that I can watch, and read their body language. Maybe they might say it's okay, but you can tell that they feel differently. I met a guy one time that told me that he adjusts his pricing based on if someone watches him or not. He will give them what he used to call the pain in the butt. He didn't say butt, but the pain in the butt pricing. So number one, yes, I think it's okay for you to watch. Number two, I think you should find a company that's okay with you watching. And unfortunately, we live in a world where a lot of companies will charge you to come out to your house, and that's just the nature of the business. They've got bills to pay, and they can't be just running around here and there and making no money off of each job. So they're going to at least charge for the trip out. They may call it a diagnostic fee, a travel fee, a service call fee, whatever they call it, but it's ultimately to protect themselves from customers that are just kicking the tires. So in a world where lots of companies are going to continue to charge you just to come out to your home, you may not have the ability to continue to get more and more second opinions and have multiple options and opinions on that matter. But even if that first company, because you don't want to pay all those different fees, and you go ahead and have them repair it, and you did watch them, and there's something you didn't like about that company, but you did go ahead and get the thing done so you can have air conditioning or heat again, you now know, because you were there, because you watched them, because you know that A, they didn't do something right, or B, they're not okay with you watching them, that it's just not a fit. You just know that that's not a fit long term, that you're not going to use them in the future. The sad thing is, a lot of companies, it's not the company itself, it's the people that they're hiring, that it's the problem with the guy that, if there were a totem pole, a guy at the bottom of the totem pole is the one that is treating you that way and is not wanting you to watch over them. And it doesn't necessarily mean the company themselves is bad. They just hired a bad apple at that point, right? So let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear them down in the comment section below. Are you okay with just trusting the company and not watching what they're doing? Or are you the type that kind of keeps an eye on things, even if it does mean the company's not going to be okay with it? If you like this video, I think you'll like this one even more. It's where I talk about some of the HVAC products you should stop buying. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.